goodness. Merry Christmas!
Wow. The seasons are flying, man.
It's COVID Christmas, Henry. I mean, it's early December, early deck, and we're here talking about Christmas movies. Well, we're talking about Christmas franchises. We're not covering any Christmas movies this week, but I assure you that is coming. This is the franchise episode number. It's probably something like 247.
Very close. 235.
Not even close.
Well, give you the benefit of the doubt.
I should have known we weren't approaching 250 because obviously that's going to be a classic anniversary ep.
That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we have the H-Dog over there, the road dog himself. He's been a Clark Griswold in his time, I'm sure. He knows how to drive, unlike me. And Henry Papali, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Should I welcome you to the show more?
I don't know. It felt a little weird, but it also felt nice.
Let me ask you a question. For the last 234 weeks, have you felt unwelcome here?
Only at small moments.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Are you knocking something around there? I hear a lot of, feels like a record scratching.
Is that true?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not, but hey, I'm in new location.
Okay. Yeah.
You hear something happening over there?
Your voice sounds great, but it sounds like you're kerfuffling around there or something. I can hear like a little duck getting hit. It's not internet. It's definitely. Do you have a duck in the room?
I gotta be honest. My girlfriend has decided to make a smoothie in the next room, even though she's aware that a podcast is currently recording.
Oh, all right. I feel like that's not it, but you don't generally move around too much, so I don't know what it is. But
Henry, why don't you leave me alone and stop fucking up the flow of my convo?
I'm very sorry.
I haven't even fucking introduced myself yet. I welcome you to the show. I'm never welcoming you again.
I'm sorry. It just sounds like there's some seagulls periodically running through my head, so it's just throwing me off. I got to get used to it. I hope a new aspect.
I hope the rest of the people don't hear that.
I hope so too. I really do. It's really loud.
You're still hearing it?
Not at this particular second. Don't move them. Stop moving.
No, hang on. All right, listen, I stopped the recording, I'll be honest, and I could hear the thing, and you could all hear the thing, too. So now I sound like a crazy person.
Well, I'm validated, I'm vindicated, but it's quite all right. We'll power through.
Ooh, vindicated. That was a good Dashboard confessional song back in the day.
Oh, was it?
You remember that guy?
Yeah, sounds like one of their songs, sure.
He had good eyebrows. Listen, I saw him live by accident once, opening for Weezer.
Oh. It's like when I saw Slash's Snake Pit by accident.
Who were they opening for?
AC/DC.
You saw fucking Slash's Snake Pit? That's an amazing show.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I kind of walked out. I hung out in the...
Are you kidding me? The Snake Pit didn't do any GNR songs?
No.
Not a single one?
No, he was trying to prove himself. I hung out for like 10 minutes because I was like it was really awesome to see Slash, obviously, for the first and only time I ever did. And that was cool, but his band was awful. So I just hung out in the lobby and looked at the merch.
Let me ask you an important question.
Yeah.
Was he wearing his top hat?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's the answer I wanted, Henry.
Yeah, and he was leaning back, playing his Les Paul, like he was reclining in a chair. Pretty cool. He's awesome. I love Slash.
We have a treat for you tonight. I'm here on the show, first of all.
Yeah, that's a treat.
The Holiday Train. And we are covering the National Lampoon Vacation franchise. And I don't know why I'm talking this way.
That's all right. It's a Hankation. That's right. It's Hankation over here. I'll try better next week.
Thank you, Henry. I didn't mean to shame you.
No. It's not my strong suit, the nicknames.
I don't think it's mine either, but I mean,
Oh,
I
yes,
still fire away every week.
Yeah, no. It is. It's a strong suit. Yeah.
All right, so I had this idea months ago that we were going to do this thing where I'm interested in franchises that start out as regular franchises and then throw in a Christmas movie. Because Christmas movies are usually their own unique thing. We've covered franchises like The Santa Claus and Home Alone that are consistently making Christmas movies.
That's
But what
right.
about these franchises that pepper in a Christmas movie here and there?
Yeah, and I thought it was a cool idea. Just we kind of have altered our Halloween stuff a little bit with new ideas. I like this one. This was a good one.
Thank
And
you,
you don't get sick of shitty Christmas franchises. Last year was Larry the Cable Guy, right?
Oh, that was incredible. Yeah, we did Jingle All the Way.
That's right. That's
Mm-hmm.
right. That's right. That's right.
Did you hear about the big Jingle All the Way controversy this week?
Uh-oh. No.
TBS, as usual, aired the great holiday classic Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
But apparently there was some sort of a glitch, Henry, where when Arnold takes off at the end of the movie in the Turbo Man suit, remember he
Yeah.
flies into the air like a superhero.
Yeah.
You may recall there's 10 more minutes to go in the film after that.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
TBS chops straight to closing creds, Henry. They skipped the last 10, and people on the internet ran riot.
That's really sad that people ran riot.
Are you
over
kidding
that.
me? What if you were watching a film, Henry, and they cut out the last 10 minutes of the movie? What if you were watching 2001, A Space Odyssey, and they cut out the Star Baby stuff?
Well,
that to me is just as important to that film as, say, the reconciliation of Arnold and his wife Rita Wilson is to Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, I mean maybe that's accurate. I'm sure there's a contingent of people who feel that way, but I just don't care.
Okay, Henry. In other news, how are you feeling about my new mustache?
I'm a fan. I'm a little worried about the hipster idea because of the whole solo mustache does go against your grain. But I'm happy to see you try facial hair. You know that I've been a strong advocate of Dan having a beard ever since we were friends, and he does not enjoy the feeling of a beard. So I'll take what I can get.
You pushed for it when we lived together, and when we lived together, I maintained a beard, if you recall, for maybe 9 days.
Very, very brief. Yeah,
that was all I could do before it started driving me insane.
Yeah.
It's itchy.
Yeah, and as we were discussing off air, very deep conversation prior to this, because we always like to prepare before. What is that flavor?
Oh, Henry.
Yes.
Do they not have the good Poland Spring flavors of seltzer in shitty old Barnegat, New Jersey?
Yeah, they do. It just didn't look familiar, the one you had. It had red all over it.
Yeah, that's right, Henry, because there are extra flavors of Poland Spring that they only deliver to great, exciting markets like New York City.
Uh-huh. What's the flavor?
My friend, this is ruby red grapefruit.
Oh, yeah, we have that.
Oh, yeah, but do you have blood orange hibiscus?
Yes, we do, and I don't care. I don't like the grapefruit.
Do you like lemon ginger?
I'm off the white lemon ginger. I'm a black cherry, triple berry, lemon or lime.
You're so fucking basic.
Grapefruit doesn't do it for me. Right now I'm having spring orange.
Oh, an orange in a can he's got.
I didn't have time to go to the market that has the bottles.
He didn't have time, ladies and gentlemen, because his new job. Listen, and here's another wrinkle.
Yeah.
Let me bring this up right now. It's probably better for the end of the show, but who gives a fuck?
No.
Henry has a new job, and I have a new apartment with a new living situation, and we are having trouble scheduling the show. So look out for it probably on Tuesdays from here on out for the near future, but like it could be a little erratic.
Yeah, it might. It might sometimes have to be a little couple of days later in the week. But we know you guys will support us, whatever. My new job is great, but the hours are really fucking kooky. They're all over the map. So
yeah, and you'll still get a regular episode every week, and
of course,
two Patreons from us.
Yeah, we're not gonna short you, but just don't freak out if you wake up Tuesday morning and there ain't an episode right in your feed.
Yeah,
that's all.
We're not like Friends. You can't just turn on NBC at 8 p.m. on a Thursday night, say,
right.
I must see some TV. I must.
I'm sorry.
And it'll be there for you.
Yeah.
We are not, this is not must-listen podcasts, Henry. You know what? Sometimes you can't.
No, sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. So we're trying our best. You will always get an episode per week. It just may not be. Dan's a little more optimistic that it'll be Tuesday. I am not. I'm trying to be more of a realist here, but well, he's a realist too. But he's trying to not. He's trying to bring you down easy.
I'm delivering realness all day long, Henry.
You're what?
I'm delivering realness all day long.
No, that's true. That's why I shouldn't have said you're not a realist. You are a realist. But
tonight, why do I keep saying tonight? It's 11:18 a.m.
Very tired. Yeah.
Vacation. We're talking about the vacation movies today. I wanted to. This is a franchise that started out as a regular franchise, threw in a couple of Christmas movies. We're doing it. After this, we're doing Bad Moms, then Daddy's Home. I thought of a few for next year, Henry. Harold and Kumar. Got to do Harold and Kumar next year. And The Best Man.
Okay, so maybe after this 6 weeks expires, maybe I'll get a pick and we'll be all right.
For Christmas?
No, we're covered for that.
You'll never get a pick, Henry.
That's over.
People keep choosing stuff for us. You know, like October and December are special holiday months.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only time we get to choose.
And those seemingly are the only times we get to choose. Listen, I'm not complaining too much. We're making money every time these people give us franchises to cover.
Oh, yeah, I'm flush.
But good. Henry, come now. It does feel good to choose. Vacation is a franchise we've wanted to do from the beginning.
True.
And we're now doing it. And now that we've covered it, a lot of the listeners watching these vacation movies... and they're all fucking giving it like 2s and 3s.
Whoa.
Have you checked out the Letterboxd reviews from our listeners?
I haven't.
I am truly ashamed.
I haven't. I think I took it for granted. I'm on Letterboxd pretty frequently. I took it for granted people would be given the first one. Would be getting rave reviews. I don't accept any other.
We're talking about a classic here. All right?
Yeah. European is a different story.
Yeah,
we'll get to
it sure is. But I mean, look, Vacation's not a perfect movie. I've got problems with it. It's got a ghost blowjob and a half. But I would say this is a pretty great movie. And I'm going to be saying some positive things about it today.
I think it's a masterpiece of comedy.
Okay.
And I hadn't watched it in a long time, but I have seen it many times. I quote it ad nauseum. I didn't even realize how much I quote it when I watched it. And Chevy Chase is fucking genius. This is only the second time we've covered Chevy on this show.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think Fletch was the only time. That was about 4 years ago. Our first.
That's surprising considering your all-time love for this man.
Well, he's not in a lot of franchises.
He's in The Shack.
Right. Well, that's been on our list for a long, long time. But The Shack has never been in. I've never revered it as much as other people have. Like I do the Fletch.
We should cover it though, just because it'll get us to talk about Rodney.
Oh yeah. No, I want to do it.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Vacation right this fucking second.
All right.
I'll tell you what happened here. John Hughes wrote for the National Lampoon magazine.
Just so you know, you're still getting that thing.
Okay, but am I getting it consistently, or did it just do it for the first time in a while?
No, a few times.
God
I don't,
damn it!
I don't want to say it every time.
I'm so annoyed.
That did something.
Oh, I hope so. Okay. Listen, Vacation 58.
Huh.
That was a short story that he wrote for the National Lampoon. Now, Henry, did you write for the National Lampoon?
When I was very young. Yeah, I wrote a couple travel stories about me and my folks going to...
He's being a dummy. I was just trying to point out the fact that Henry never attended Harvard University.
Mm.
Uh-huh. All right. Now that everybody knows...
Why do you have to remind people of that?
I just wanted to remind everybody, not a Harvard man over there in New Jersey.
That's
but
right.
In 1979, when John Hughes was writing for this Harvard magazine, he wrote Vacation 58, which was about his family taking a vacation in the year 1958.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. I've never read it, but I've inferred that from the title.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you think it is?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Huh.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what happens here is they're like, this is going to make a good movie. National Lampoon, we're in the movie industry now. We've got Animal House. It made a fortune for us.
Right.
Okay? So they pitch it to Jeffrey Katzenberg over at Paramount. J.K. himself, legendary Disney, head of the Disney Renaissance, greenlit Aladdin and the Little Mermaid, The Lion King, then left to form DreamWorks SKG, and then this legend formed the DreamWorks Animation Studio, Henry, made Shrek.
Wow.
All right?
Wow.
And then, just to top it all off, icing on the cake, one of the most hilarious failures in entertainment history, Quibi.
Quibi?
Yeah, you familiar with Quibi?
Never heard
That's
of that.
amazing. Okay, this is exciting for me because I love when I'm able to explain to you very out there news that has happened recently just because you don't pay attention to the entertainment industry.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So, a couple years ago, Jeffrey Katzenberg raised billions of dollars for a new streaming service called Quibi. Okay?
An awful name.
Well, it's short for Quick Bites.
Okay.
Okay? And the idea of this app would be to create original screaming shows that air in very short, like 10-minute installments. They're quick bites, Henry.
Original screaming shows?
Streaming shows.
You said screaming, so I was like, oh, is that another thing I don't know about?
A, I didn't say that, and B, if I did, you should have been able to infer that I meant streaming.
I did, but I wanted to bring it up.
All right, so National Lampoon's Vacation. Quick Bites. I was telling you about Quick Bites.
Yes, you were.
Okay, so Quibi, as it's called, finally, everyone tried to tell Katzenberg, this is a bad idea. You're spending so much money on this. What are you doing? And Katzenberg was like, I understand what the youth of America wants.
Sure.
Like, I greenlit The Lion King. I stand by my gut.
Yeah, 30 years ago, he knew.
Okay, so Quibi was supposed to launch like over the summer. They poured billions of dollars into programming. They made shows with enormously famous people. They made movies using this technology that were going to be like distributed in 10-minute bites. And what happened was they released Quibi to the public during quarantine.
Okay.
And, like, the whole point of Quibi was supposed to be that people were going to, like, watch them in transit on the train or something.
Ah, yes.
Okay,
sure.
But nobody was going to work. But, like, regardless, I don't think it would have worked. And it was one of the biggest failures in entertainment history, Henry. I honestly can't believe you haven't heard about it.
Yeah, I thought maybe it would like pop up on my, Google feed or something, or when I'm reading other Hollywood articles, which I frequently do, but only things that interest me.
You
I've
never
never
watched
seen it.
like Colbert or some bullshit like that?
Not lately. No, no,
Mm.
no, no, no.
Because I'm sure they were
No.
joking about it. This was like
I
a
don't watch those
huge-
late night guys
But
anymore.
this was like a huge pie in the face of like an enormous Hollywood institution.
Yeah. No. I watch a lot of PBS lately.
Oh, say okay. So in an early mistake, Jeffrey Katzenberg passed on vacation.
Of course he did.
Yeah. All right. It was not a quick enough bite for him, and so the Warner Brothers picked it up. The Brothers Warner, Henry.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. If they picked it up today, they might release it day and date with HBO Max. Have you heard that news?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you heard that Christopher Nolan is fucking furious?
No, that I didn't. I do know. Why is he furious?
Because he releases all of his films through Warner Brothers, and he does not stand for movies not getting the theatrical treatment.
Yeah, but what's he got to be pissed about? I mean, fucking COVID happened. He didn't make his movie watchable for us Americanos over here for a long time. It's still not.
Well, he doesn't believe that you should be able to see his film until you can see it the way that he has designed it to be seen, Henry.
Chris, I love you, buddy, but I can still watch your movie and get it. I don't know.
Christopher Nolan is like, listen, Tom and Jerry fans need to see the live-action Tom and Jerry movie on the big screen. What are we doing? We need to protect the Tom and Jerry artists.
My movies need to be heard because it's an oral experience. I mean, the last time I saw a Chris Nolan movie in theaters, I couldn't hear the dialogue because he had Hans Zimmer blasting so loud. The last two
That's
times.
how it was designed, Henry.
Oh, I know. Actually,
He mixed those Hans Zimmer tones
I know.
that loud.
The last 4 movies that I saw of his in theaters, it was very hard. Inception, Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar, and I'm forgetting one. Dunkirk.
Oh, yeah, that piece of shit. Hey, listen, in all seriousness, what HBO is doing is a genuinely good thing for the people who actually give a shit about movies, which are the customers and the consumers and the viewers. And everybody who's complaining about this, including Christopher Nolan and John Chu, the guy who directed Crazy Rich Asians and the upcoming In the Heights, honestly can go fuck themselves and go fuck off in a hole and die because they're elitist pieces of shit who don't give a fuck about anything except their own shitty fucking egos. That is Trumpism at its highest, and fuck Christopher Nolan. I will skip the next. I'm not going to watch fucking Tenet.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Well, I think Nolan might be a tad detached from the general populace in that we all don't have movie theaters in our own houses.
Oh, and John
that we can
Chu.
watch.
Oh, yeah. I saw Crazy Rich Asians in theaters, Henry.
Yeah,
I got to say, that was an experience that could never have been replicated on my television at home. There's no way I could have enjoyed those Crazy Rich Asians as much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I would have got Chris Nolan's point right at the beginning of COVID, where it was just like a little disappointment. Like, oh man, I really did design this for the theater. I love putting IMAX, all that. But now it's like, all right, this is just the way it is. So let's accommodate. Let's get my movie shown to as many people who can see it. But no, I guess that's not his stance, which is too bad. That's sad. He's very, very out of touch with, well, everybody who's not a millionaire, I guess.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jonathan Nolan, who's creating quality entertainment for television, is like, what, am I butthurt? You can't see fucking Westworld in theaters? Go fuck yourself.
Well, he's the brother who's like kind of American, if I'm not mistaken. He talks completely different. I think they've got very different aesthetics.
I'm fucking Jonathan over Christopher any day of the fucking week. And at this point, I might be David Goyer over fucking Nolan. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. John Nolan, I think he's the hidden hand Maybe he's the hidden hand
He's the
behind
true
Nolan.
talent of the Nolan clan. It might be Lisa Joy, Nolan's wife. She's the real talent.
And she's a lovely person.
Yeah. All right, listen. So Hughes, this is actually an extremely important movie because John Hughes wrote it. It's his first screenplay.
Yep.
I mean, that was made anyway. And this got him the gig doing 16 Cans, which got him the gig doing Breakfast Club. And, you know.
Hughes all over it, man. I often forget that he wrote this movie. In fact, all the time, I never think about it. I always just associate Ramis. But this is John Hughes through and through. And it's fucking brilliant. It's brilliant.
Let's talk about director Harold Ramis, R.I.P. You know him as Egon from the Ghostbusters. It looks here that he died, Henry, at the age of 69. So high five on that.
Right.
And he directed some movies. He wrote some movies and he acted in some movies. But let's concentrate on his directing career.
I'm there.
His first film was Caddyshack, which is a very fun movie. He followed that up with Vacation. What a start to his career. He was enormous at this point. You know, he also – did he have a writing credit or on Animal House? I think that's how he got this gig.
Yeah, and Stripes.
And, so Club Paradise is the next film he directs. That is, I believe,
I saw it.
It is the only Harold Ramis film I've never seen.
And I saw it it used to be an Encore staple in the 90s.
Encore, sure. The poor man stars.
That's right. Well, I was poor in the 90s, teenager, and I loved Club Paradise. I thought it was very funny, a low-key performance with Robin Williams, and you don't see that a lot. And Peter O'Toole is in it, and it's a funny movie. It's not great, but it's a funny movie. So
What's
I give Harold. I believe, Jesus, it's been like a quarter of a century, but I believe Robin Williams tries to open up a club in like
Paradise?
the Bahamas. Yeah, pretty much in the Bahamas, and run it, and it sucks, and it's being out clubbed by the big megalo huge like Trumpian clubs.
Wait, so do they have to have like a talent show or something?
I don't think so. I think he's just trying to draw in visitors and shit, and it's very funny. It's about how his club kind of sucks and is poor, ramshackle, and the other clubs aren't, but it's quite funny, as I recall. So I give Ramis credit for that. I say thumbs up to Club Paradise.
Okay, well, that movie did not do well. So
no.
he sort of went back. He did Ghostbusters 2, which helped him get back on top. He didn't direct that, though. He then his next directing effort is 1993's Groundhog Day, which for my money is his masterpiece.
Yeah. Yes, Groundhog Day is an unequivocal masterpiece.
Created its own genre.
Yeah, it sure did. It sure did. I mean, I would lump Vacation in there too, but Groundhog Day is really quite a phenomenal phenomenon.
He follows that up with another incredible film, which was very bad for his career, but a very good film, and that is Stuart Saves His Family.
Really? Yeah. I don't think I made it through that whole movie.
Incredible film.
Yeah.
All right. He follows that up with Multiplicity. Saw that in theaters. A lot of Michael Keaton's in that film.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it on TV. I remember laughing.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Boy, he really likes Andy McDowell, huh?
Who doesn't?
I feel like a lot of people. Like, what's so great about Andy McDowell?
We've talked about her. I love her.
Right.
She was one of my crushes. She's charming and effervescent and lovely and no darkness at all. She's like the...
I think I need a little darkness.
Oh, I do too, but she's like... That's why she's kind of alone in that. I'll take her over a Julia Roberts any day.
Maybe I can't picture Andy McDowell handling a dick.
You can't? Sex, Lies, and
I
Video.
don't think
she does.
Oh, you're right. She handles it well. You're right. I'm changing. I forget about Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Andy McDowell's all right by me.
That's right. And she has that movie called Crush from the like 2000 where she She fucks a teenager in high school. She's a teacher. She has an affair with a teenager. It's excellent.
I might have to look into that one.
Yeah, it's excellent. I saw that in theaters.
I do love the film The Crush, Henry.
I know you do.
In which Alicia Silverstone bones her professor.
Well, apparently that has to be part of the subject
or something.
Yeah, that has to be part of the movie if it's called Crush. So, yeah.
I love those 90s Alicia Silverstone movies where Hollywood was just like, hey, Alicia, you're 14? Let me see those tits.
A real Louis B. Mayer attitude going on there.
In this one, you've got a crush. In this one, you're a babysitter. In this one, you're fucking clueless.
You were in those rock and roll videos. I don't watch rock and roll, but I heard you were good.
In this one, you're crazy. In this one, you're amazing.
In this one, you're crying.
You're crying in this one, all right? We got to start talking about this movie.
Yeah,
right.
Louis B. Mayer joke, courtesy of Mank.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. You didn't review it on Letterboxd. What'd you give that?
I did. Yes, I did.
Did you like Mank?
I gave it 5.
5. It's the first fucking 5 for that movie I've seen. You're such a fucking whore for David Finch.
I loved it, and it'll get better with time. I know it's taken kind of a beating. I don't care.
Well, I'm going to watch it this week. I'll let you know.
I read all these different reviews of it. Yeah. I know it's not even popular on Letterboxd, but I don't care. I loved it. I thought it was great. I think you'll like it. I predict a 4.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You're not going to ever give it a 5, but I predict a 4. I'd be surprised.
It's definitely like the first Fincher movie that like the critical cognoscenti has not enjoyed since like Benjamin Button.
Been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, been a while, and I'm a little surprised at that, but I'm not. He always is kind of. They're not always slobbering over him. They didn't really go nuts for Gone Girl.
Yeah, they did.
Nah. He takes time.
Whatever. Harold Ramis, he does Analyze This is the beginning of the end for this fucking guy. He does Bedazzled, which I saw in theaters, got some little baby boners during. Then you got Analyze That. Then The Ice Harvest, which like barely came out in theaters, but is like basically okay. And then his last movie is Year One.
Oof. Yeah, I didn't see the last one I saw in theaters was Analyze This. That was it. I was done.
No, I saw them all. I saw Year One in theaters, dude.
Yeah. Not I.
His final directing effort ever is the episode of The Office where Pam gives birth.
Where Pam what?
Gives birth.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Did you watch it to that? Did you watch The Office all the way through?
All the way through. Yeah.
When does that show get bad, Henry?
When Michael Scott leaves.
I think you're right. You know, I used to think it was before that.
It isn't for me.
Yeah, I recently rewatched the whole series for the first time since it ended, and it's absolutely true. It's when Michael leaves.
Yeah,
it's really before Michael leaves. It's that last Michael season is bad, and then the season after that is bad, and then it gets okay again for the last season.
Yeah, I stuck with it because I love it so much. But if were I to rewatch the whole thing, I'd probably stop once he leaves. Oof, lots of noise there. Careful with those drinks.
You know what? Go fuck
Just let
yourselves. It go. All right. I'm going to start singing Holiday Road right now.
I like it.
And I want you to harmonize, okay?
Oh, boy. All right.
Holiday Road. Oh, we can't.
Oh, you're starting right on the
chorus? We can't do it. You started
right. Where are you starting?
Yeah, just the chorus. What do you think? I know the fucking verses of Holiday Road?
Jack, be quick. Oh.
Is the next line Jack jumps over the candlestick?
I don't know, but that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Yeah. can harmonize if you were doing this baritone operatic. I don't know what that was.
I wanted to go holiday roll, and then you would go. Oh. Holiday roll. All right, it didn't really work out, but you sounded great, Henry.
All right.
All right. Listen, this film was released July 29th, 1983, 2 days before my birthday, but 3 years before I was born. Okay?
I was 5.
Uh-huh. Did you see it?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. No.
A budget of $15 million and a Boffo BO of 61.4. It came in at number 11 for the 1983 box office. Right there, made slightly less than Risky Biz, and it made a little bit more than Superman 3.
Wow. Okay.
Previous episode with Richard Pryor.
Oof.
I should call it a Pryor episode. All right. So let's talk about it. It starts with Lindsey Buckingham's amazing effort, Holiday Road. Now, when I forgot about this song. I forgot this song existed, Henry. All right?
I didn't, but I didn't know it was Lindsey Buckingham until the movie started.
And I was looking at the soundtrack, you know, and it seemed like it's Lindsey Buckingham with like a few songs, and then like a bunch of like people from the 50s and 60s and shit. And
but there's some good stuff in there. The Ramones are in there and shit.
Okay, but looking at it on the surface, like I'm on the Wikipedia page and I see the listing for the soundtrack. I'm like, this movie must be like Lethal Weapon, where it's fucking stodgy and old-fashioned and I think square. I think this movie's fucking square. All right? And then I turn on this movie and I hear this Lindsey Buckingham song. And I'm like, hell no, we won't go. This is a masterpiece.
Right. Yeah, it's
I'm loving
hysterical.
every fucking second of it. This is one of the best songs in motion picture history.
It's fucking perfect. It's synonymous with the movie. I never forget this song. Yeah.
Now, Lindsey Buckingham was one of the Fleetwood Macs.
That's right.
Is he one of the ones that got to stick his dick in Stevie Nicks?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Did they all?
I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure to be in the band, that was kind of what you had to do.
Yeah.
I think Stevie was all for that. I think she was quite a woman.
She was a queen of her day. All right. Can I say something I noticed in these opening credits is that we could cover this on our future podcast, or I have given the listeners permission to start up this podcast. Nobody has yet. My podcast, I've pitched it multiple times. It's called And Introducing.
Right, yes.
In which you only cover films with an and introducing credit. And it's such a good idea for a podcast, Henry. I am furious nobody has taken the reins. We do get an and introducing Christy Brinkley credit in this film.
Yeah, we sure do. And there's somebody else in this movie that I couldn't believe was in this movie. Never noticed it. I don't think she gets anything, but I hope you noticed. Did you notice who else is in this fucking movie?
Jane Krakowski.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I ever knew that.
No, I always did, man. I used to watch this movie as a kid, and like she was my
all right.
I was like, Jane Krakowski, get over here. All right.
I didn't
when I was like, when Ally McBeal came out, Henry, I was like, holy shit, it's the fucking hot girl from fucking Vacation. I was so pumped. She plays Ally McBeal's receptionist, Henry.
Yeah.
She's great. All right. Krakowski, what a career. Here in 1983, appearing in Vacation. She's still getting nominated for Emmys now.
Yeah.
She was in 30 Rock for 7 years, went off and did Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt for 4 years there. What a career for Krakowski. Ally McBeal, she was on the few episodes of Everwood. She fucked Treat Williams. Always a treat. And, like, she's great.
Yeah.
Is that all?
I never watched half the stuff she was ever in, but.
But you're aware that she's like a famous person.
Oh yeah. She's made a very very big career, and
she never made an impression on you in anything.
She doesn't do much for me.
Really?
Yeah. She's not really not my cup of chai.
Were you more of a Dana Barron fellow when you were a kid?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think I understand that. Here's why I wasn't, and it's interesting, Henry. To me, maybe not to anyone else, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
I saw European Vacation before I saw Vacation.
All right. Okay.
And that might play into my reviews today and how we talk about the movies. But I loved European Vacation as a kid. And that was my vacation movie. And then when I saw this one, it was like mind-blowing because it was like the origin story of the people from the vacation movie I liked.
Yes. Okay.
And so in European Vacation, what's the name of the daughter?
Audrey,
right. Rusty and Audrey. Great.
You were like Chevy
FYI,
Chase. You didn't remember her name.
Incredible names in this movie. Great character names. Clark Griswold as a dad name is absolutely dynamite.
It's right on the money.
Right on the money.
And the kids are great. Great names.
Rusty.
And Rusty's fucking great.
Russ for short. Great.
Yeah.
Anytime Chevy Chase yells Russ with him right behind him, great.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing every time. Every time he forgets his daughter's name.
You know when I hate when they bring back gags in a sequel for a comedy?
I hate it too.
When he called Rusty in European Vacation and Rusty was right behind him, I laughed.
One of the few times.
Yeah. All right. So Audrey in the second movie, they recast the kids. We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah.
And in the second movie, they cast a woman with like dwarfish features.
Very strange.
Yeah, like she was like,
diabetes.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll get into that too. Nothing against her. She's like,
no.
She had a good career as like a voice actor, and like she was my original Audrey. But because she is so, they make her so repulsive in European Vacation. They just have her stuffing her fucking face at all times. And she looks so
young.
And so when I saw this movie for the first time, it was like I could not look at her as an attractive person at all.
Interesting. Wow, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now I watch it now, and like Dana Barron is like totally cute and really good, and the kids are great in this movie. You know, I've always thought it was funny that they recast the kids in all the movies, and rewatching this one, especially rewatching them in order, really made me wish we had Anthony Michael Hall and Dana Barron in the succeeding Vacation films.
Yeah, it might have helped. But I read Anthony Michael Hall opted to do Weird Science, which is obviously a good call.
Wow. I mean, did you hear it, though? Like, I mean, I guess since we're talking about it, we'll get into it more in European Vacation probably, but I guess they wanted both kids to come back, which I didn't realize. I thought it was just a joke that, like, we're going to change the kids every time.
Right. Yeah.
But they offered both of the actors their roles. Anthony Michael Hall, who by this point was doing Weird Science and Breakfast Club, said no.
And 16 Candles.
And 16 Candles, of course. And Dana Barron said yes. Yeah. And then Amy Heckerling, who was the new director, was like, it feels weird that we have one of the kids and not the other. I think I'd like to recast both of them.
I don't like that.
Holy shit, poor Dana Barron.
I know, it's awful. I read that too.
They've made these movies. The most recent Vacation movie, Henry, is 2015. Dana Barron could have had this in her pocket as like a little cash cow for years.
I know, it's too bad. I know in Christmas in Christmas Vacation, we get Juliette Lewis. I recall that.
Okay,
but yeah, me too. But it's it's sad because she's very good. She's fucking funny. She's got great comic timing. I mean, the kid acting in this is some of the best we've ever covered. There's no doubt.
It does remind me why I liked the movie as a kid. There's more of the kids in this movie than I remembered there being. There's not a lot of the kids in European Vacation. It's way more focused on the adults.
Yeah. It's true.
And I kind of think it's a bad move because, based on a short story, Vacation 58, John Hughes is writing about his own life. So let's assume he's the Rusty.
Yeah.
And so having Rusty there as a POV character occasionally really benefits the first Vacation movie. And just like having him trying to get his dick wet all the way through European Vacation, while it did give me little boy boners when I was a little boy, it does hurt the film.
Yeah. And that kid isn't like, I was worried because it's hard to follow Anthony Michael Hall because he's fucking brilliant in Vacation. He plays off Chevy Chase perfectly. Chevy Chase, also, I have to say, I was really thinking about, I'd never thought about this or paid attention to it, but I'm older now and we cover so much on the show, yada, 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 that I was impressed that Chevy Chase, like, really clearly gives him room, and, like, I think he enjoys having him, like, a good comic actor with him. Like, he seems to, like, respect him, and I was a little surprised. You know what I mean?
Because Anthony Michael Hall is a kid and Beverly D'Angelo and Dana Barron are women, they're never going to, like, encroach on his space. I think Chevy has trouble giving up screen time to other white adult males. He's very ungiving with his screen time.
Yeah. Unless it's like another Titan like Steve Martin, like in Three Amigos, he does not do that.
Or it doesn't even have to be white. It's just like dudes. Like, you can tell in Community, you've got like Joel McHale and Donald Glover both like giving their all, and Danny Pudi, and like I just don't think Chevy's comfortable with that.
Yeah, no, that's probably right. And Chevy is also
wishes it was the one amigo.
Well, and Chevy's also the kind of guy who really is a guy who plays off of dumber people. Like, that's how he makes Fletch and like Funny Farm and all those things. He's better when he has people who he just makes fun of, or even if he's the butt of the joke. But in this, it's
not even that he's better. It's just what he's more comfortable at. And Chevy is a guy who's just like unwilling to ever go out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, right. He's the center of attention. But in these movies, that his rapport, I mean, we should really start getting in the movie because also I'm kind of pressed for time. But yeah, his scenes with Anthony Michael Hall, especially when he shares a beer with him, it's fucking hysterical.
It's such a cozy scene, and Anthony Michael Hall's so funny. Like,
he's so good,
dragging that beer, and the first of many beers to come in the 1980s for Anthony Michael Hall, I'm sure. And one thing I will say about Chevy Chase that is a huge compliment to the man, and it has always impressed me about him, is that Chevy Chase gets his start on SNL in 1975. He goes on for 1 year and then leaves, okay?
Yeah.
Like, that is a bold move, and it's kind of a fucked up move, but what that does is it makes him kind of the coolest motherfucker on the planet.
True.
And the fact that he's then able to go off and do Vacation and perfectly embody the squarest fucking dad you can imagine, Clark Griswold.
True.
The fact that he's willing to do that, like, he doesn't always need to like, back then, like, you watch all those Bill Murray movies and he's so fucking cool and all that. Eddie Murphy is so cool in all of his movies. Chevy's willing to look like a ding dong.
Yeah, you're right. And even Chevy in like Foul Play, he has to be the cool guy. But like,
I mean, Chevy certainly started that way, but he's able to take that layer off and be a fucking goof, and he's great.
He really is,
and it matches the tone of the movie. Like, I feel like if there was one thing our listeners that bothered me about those like negative Letterboxd reviews, it was just that I think the tone is on point in this movie.
Oh, it's perfect.
Like, I think people think it's goofy or silly or something, but like, on the face of it, all it's trying to be is like an old-timey family vacation movie. Like, it's trying to do a thing like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something.
Yeah,
where, like,
yeah.
It's there's a sheen over it. It's like very traditional and old-fashioned on the surface, but underneath all of it is a black fucking heart. The fate of the dog Dinky in this movie is one of the darkest things I've ever seen in a mainstream comedy movie, and they play it like they never ask you to sympathize with anyone for a second.
It's fucking hilarious.
It's unbelievable.
Because there's things in the movie that are set up that you might question, but they're only set up for what happens after. Like Imogene Coca, you could roll your eyes at her showing up as Aunt Edna, but her death and him setting her up outside the house and praying, I'm dying. I'm fucking dying when he does that. When he has the cop pull him over because the dog died, Chevy's facial reactions to that are worth all of it. So, like, I'm seeing Letterboxd now. I mean, there's
and the sight gag of Edna tied to her corpse, tied to the roof of their car, clutching her own pocketbook, is so fucking fucked up. Like, you know, like movies
so
that now that premiere and like try on their, like, we're doing fucking comedy that's gonna knock your like, this is gross. Like, you're not gonna be able to take this shit. Like Hangover or whatever. Like, it's just like they don't have the balls of this movie, and this movie's doing it with a sunny smiley face on.
So true. So true. I agree. Great points. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it knows what it's doing. It knows where it's going. It doesn't apologize. And you're right. I guess I've been so inured to the movie for so long that I don't look at them as shocking anymore. They're just like sight gags, but I'm sure they are. And I'm sure in 1983 they were.
Well, I've seen this movie mostly on television, Henry. So, like,
edited?
Yeah. So I definitely have seen this version a few times, but not as much. So, like, it still surprises me when you see, like, Beverly D'Angelo's boobs.
Yes.
Or
that is bizarre.
Yeah. Why are there boobs in this movie?
I don't know. It is that is actually to me the most bizarre.
Like, we see the mom's boobs.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna show someone's boobs, show Christy Brinkley's. Or like may have the daughter be like sexy, or it's just such a weird move to like do this like really traditional nuclear family and then decide, well, we need boobs, so let's show the moms.
I think that is purely a combination of three things: John Hughes, Harold Ramis, and the 1980s.
I was gonna say it's one thing. It's 1983 and it's a mainstream comedy.
They just don't give a shit. Like, that's what you do. And Beverly D'Angelo was like, yeah, all right, whatever, I don't care.
Is Beverly D'Angelo anything? I really don't know anything about her except for Vacation.
All I know with her in a few movies is that the because it's such a strange pairing, I always knew that her and Al Pacino were an item for a really long time. Isn't that bizarre? Yeah, I know that. They could still be, for all I know, but I know they were for a really long time.
Who could blame them? Look, I'm looking at her. Oh, I do like her in that one episode of The Simpsons. I mean, but she's like, I've never seen any of this shit.
What, she pop up in
she's
weird
in American
shit?
History X? Who's she in that?
Yes, she's great. She's Edward Norton's mother, who has that huge scene with Elliot Gould and him, and
that's a great scene, Henry.
Yeah, she's very good in that movie.
Yeah. God, Elliot Gould is great in that scene.
He's unbelievable in that scene. He's so good. Oh my God. That gives me chills thinking about that scene.
Me too, kind of. Let's watch that right now. Okay. Let's go through the movie a tad. So it starts off, we'll like review the bits, because like it is basically a series of sketches, but like I do think they're edited together into a coherent narrative.
I know what you're talking about. There's only a few negative reviews on Letterboxd, and that seems to be the consensus, that they're sketches, but I don't care. It's a road trip, so it's kind of what.
Yeah, a road trip movie is built to be sort of choppy. Like you might as well level the same criticism as like Dumb and Dumber or something.
You could level it at anything if you took that tract. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, Sullivan's Travels. It's too fucking sketchy for me. Too choppy. Why don't you go fuck yourself?
Every time they get on the road, there's a new city and there's a new gag. I fucking hate it.
Why does this movie keep moving to different funny things? I want the same bullshit over and over again.
And things in this movie work that shouldn't anyway, like a fucking dumb, ugly car. That shouldn't work.
Okay,
that
well,
should be
that's where we start. It's the Eugene Levy right away in this movie.
Who's funny? Who I haven't found funny on this show week we have. I haven't found him that funny till now.
Well, we've only covered him as fucking Jim's dad 100 times.
Oh, I guess that just killed me on him. But yeah, he's fucking funny.
Well, I did notice it does stand out to me that in 1983, Chevy Chase used 0 SNL cast members, but like a ton of like Canadian comedy institutions. Like he's like
it's not his
persona
choice.
non grata at fucking SNL, and they're just using tons of SCTV people.
Right. Well, I mean,
Oh, you think Chevy got no choice in the Chevy? It will impose himself upon any department in this film.
Yeah, I don't know if when he's
Beverly D'Angelo's makeup was chosen by Chevy Chase.
I don't know. I don't know if he was quite that. I mean, I would say yes in something like Fletch, where he's kind of working with people who aren't. But I mean, in Harold Ramis isn't going to have a say in that. I mean,
yeah, he's a laid back guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well, whatever. The choices are great, so it doesn't really matter. But you're probably right. I didn't even think about that because you got Candy, you got Levy. I mean, they're the main SCTV people, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then we get 2 bits that fall flat for me.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about that. He goes home with the car and tries to map out the road trip while he creates sort of a map on the kid's video game system.
I loved it.
It's stupid.
I loved it. I don't know why.
It doesn't work. It's so of the time. It's
of the time, but
it's not funny.
I think it's funny. I was laughing because I like the idea is ridiculous, but I like that it's showing the screen, the video screen, and you just hear their voices, and Anthony Michael Hall somehow putting like a Pac-Man thing on there, and then Audrey coming on and killing him, and Chevy's voice just going, "Thank you, Audrey. Thank you." I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I don't care.
Know. I don't need a visual guy. It just seems so like, hey, it's 1983. Video games are popular.
I think you're right, but I was able to detach myself. I mean, maybe because I also was around during those shitty video game times.
But it also went on for a while. Like, it was too long.
A little bit, but it didn't bother me. All
right, so what happens next? They take off. They get on the road after a little trouble with the garage, which is funny. And then we get the real... I mean, let's talk about the ghost blowjob of Vacation.
All right, I don't know what you're going to say.
I can't believe you don't know what I'm going to say.
Maybe, I don't know.
What do you think I'm going to say?
They're already on the road?
Yeah. I believe that everybody listening right now that has seen this movie knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, let's... wait. This happens a little later, but are you talking about the St. Louis?
Yes, I am.
Fair enough. Absolutely. You threw me off with the timing because I think that happens further into the movie. But yeah,
they get out at the wrong exit and stop in St. Louis, where they try to get directions. And we're in a black neighborhood because all of a sudden saxophone is on the soundtrack, which it wasn't earlier, and it never is again.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah, so they drive into the city, and he gets directions from a black man who treats him like shit, while everybody around him steals his hubcaps.
Yeah. You know why I thought you threw me off by calling it the ghost blowjob, because I always think of the ghost blowjob as being more of a a thing that has potential to be funny or was lighthearted, like the Dan Aykroyd ghost blowjob.
It's
but
just the one
this is
obvious
more
shitty
terrible.
element in an
This is
otherwise good
so-
movie.
Yeah. Then it qualifies. Yeah, I just thought that was just an awful fucking scene. I didn't even think of it as a ghost blowjob, but I guess it is. It qualifies.
It
Yeah,
is just racist. It
Awful.
is not funny. The fact that every time a black person is seen by any member of this family, they just immediately recoil in fear. And it would be one thing if that was played for laughs, but the joke of the scene is more like, hey, you end up in a black neighborhood, they'll steal your hubcaps. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
That's
it's
not okay.
No, I agree, and it's not even playing. It's not even, and it's a very smart movie, and it's not even using its smarts to like play off of what they could have done, which was make fun of the dumb suburban white family.
They could have used this as like a social gag.
Yeah, very easily, pretty effortlessly, honestly, and it's not like Ramis. I don't know about Hughes because I know he grew up in like white areas of Chicago, but I mean I don't know about Ramis. I thought like
John
Ramis.
Hughes doesn't know anything about black people.
No,
I think we
no.
learned that with Anthony Michael Hall's weird black voice monologue in The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that's true. But I would have thought that maybe Ramis would have been able to bring something to it, but I don't know. I get it. It's
It
awful.
was 1983. They probably didn't have a single black person on set.
Yeah.
And they
It's
made
shameful.
an incredibly racist gag.
It's shameful. It really is because it doesn't work in any way. And we've just covered 48 Hours where like a lot of that stuff is addressed, but it's offset sometimes by Eddie.
I think it's a
And
genuine
some of
stain on this fucking movie.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, it's bad.
Okay, what happens next, Henry? Do we see do we go to the fam?
Yeah, let's go to the fam.
All right, so we stop off at Uncle Eddie's in where are they?
Kansas.
Kansas. And I mean, this is an interesting bit because it's funny because of Christmas Vacation. Eddie is like one of the only characters they brought back. Then like Eddie gets his own Christmas movie that went straight to DVD.
Yeah.
Down the line that we're going to cover. And what's interesting about it is like this doesn't really last in the movie. Like this sequence only goes on for like 8 minutes.
Is that all?
Yeah. And it starts like 26 minutes into the movie. Like this like
right.
It's barely in the movie.
Yeah, and I see now I will tell you I honestly grew up I don't know if I had really seen Vacation that much as a kid. The one that sticks out in my memory is Christmas Vacation as the one that formed my opinion of the Vacation movie because I saw it in the theater and I repeatedly watched it over and over. So I'm pretty sure Vacation came for me afterwards. So Cousin Eddie was, and we'll see it again next week, but is permanent throughout Christmas Vacation. And in this, he's just given like a little vignette. And I think it works. There is one line of dialogue in that entire exchange that really makes me uncomfortable, always has, and always will.
Please tell me.
So when
Oh my God, is it the one that is pretty fucking hot?
I don't think it's hot. When Jane Krakowski's on the seesaw with Dana, with Audrey, and says she's learned how to French kiss because her dad says she's the best. And it's like, I know that they're backwoods white trash, but now I have to think that Cousin Eddie is an incestuous father too.
Well, listen, I liked that bit. I think that's a funny
Really?
line. Yeah. I'm joking, obviously, by saying it's hot. Incest is disgusting outside of step porn. But, Henry, this is...
It just makes me cringe.
I don't know. But it only makes you cringe because of Christmas Vacation. Like, because Eddie, like, they turned into, like, one of the protagonists of this franchise.
Because he's supposed to be, like, a good guy that is just a loser.
But that's not how it's necessarily presented in this movie. Like, they're just, like, fucking backwoods family. Like, I don't think he's a deep enough character to, like, be set up as, like, a good guy, basically. Like, he's just Randy Quaid playing a backwoods hick in this movie.
I know.
So, like, I can believe that he Or like, and you don't even have to believe it that way. Saw his girlfriend French kiss a dude and was like, "Hey, great job." If you really want
I have to retrofit it.
yeah, you can retrofit it that way. But to me, watching this movie for the first time, if this was a standalone movie, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because the whole sequence is great. I even love the stuff with... And that's why all the kid actors are so good, because they're each given, like, they go off on their own. Like,
yeah, they all have their own little adventures. That's what I prefer. That's one of the things I prefer about this movie to European, because I do think it comes from Hughes's unique perspective, the kids' storylines.
And I like Anthony Michael Hall going off with this stupid kid, Dale, I think his name is, and he's just like wearing this awful, stupid T-shirt.
But I love that both of them find common ground. Like,
yes.
Anthony Michael Hall through porn and Dana Barron through weed.
So great. And I didn't remember that stuff as like that they actually bonded. I love that. It's so awesome. It's like they start out the scene in a very short period of time. They're like, oh my God, this is disgusting. I hate these people. And then all of a sudden, by the end of when they leave, they're friends.
Yeah, I think Dana Barron and Jane Krakowski are really charming here. The way they... Like, when she does say that, they're still in a period where Dana Barron's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I am being forced to hang out with this girl.
Yeah, and she's a jerk, too. She's kind of a jerk to her, because she's like, you know that being a farmer's daughter is not cool. And then Krakowski just turns it around on her. Is like, oh, yeah? Well...
She has a few joints, and she offers a few for Dana Barron to take, which is, you know, you gotta think maybe the dude she's making out with is a drug dealer.
Possibly.
She's able to get that weed so easily.
Thank you for fully retrofitting this for me. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I've really thought a lot about it.
Yeah,
and I should write vacation fan fiction. What do you think?
I dig it. What, can I play the Clark Griswold role? I'm old enough now.
What do you think fan fiction is?
I know what fan fiction is.
Then why would you be playing a role in it?
Oh, if it made it into a movie like, you know, Twilight or something.
Oh, you're saying that I'm going to write a vacation fan fiction. It's going to become so successful that they make a fake vacation movie like 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes.
And you want to play the Clark Griswold role.
Yes.
All right, done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's good.
Who should I play?
Oh, you got to be in it. You got to, even if you want to have like a smaller, you want to sell me the car?
I don't know. Who can I play with this mustache, Henry? Can I play the Christy Brinkley? Maybe we make your character bisexual, and you see me in a car, and you're into it.
You don't know how to drive.
Get with the times, Henry.
We'll have to drive. We'll have to change it around.
I'll teach. Someone will teach me for the film.
I'll see you on like a train. We'll be on parallel subway trains.
Maybe we're on a go-kart course.
Get with the times. Oh, we'd be excoriated for doing that.
Yeah. When do we get this Psycho parody I wrote about?
What?
There's a Psycho parody in this movie where, like, he goes and finds Beverly D'Angelo in the shower.
Real early. That's when I think we see her tits. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. You know what I thought they were doing at first in that scene? I thought they were trying to reference Land Shark, Chevy Chase's classic SNL character.
Sure.
But it wasn't.
What did you think of Aunt Edna?
You know, I don't like characters like this in movies generally, but like annoying aunt characters. But I do think she's funny. She doesn't wear out her welcome because she dies pretty quickly.
Right.
And she's asleep for a large chunk of it.
And their reactions to her are the reason it's funny to me.
Oh, yeah. Chevy plays off of her really well.
Yeah. Even the kids do, too. I mean, I think, yeah.
No, I love the scene where she's asleep and Chevy's looking for change, and he asks Anthony Michael Hall to go in her bag, and Beverly D'Angelo says no, and then he indicates that it's okay, and he does it.
Hysterical. He just like nods his head, like, "Come on, just to."
Yeah, don't listen to her.
Bau Kabatavan.
So she dies, and the dog is left strapped to the back of the car, and dies a miserable, evil death. And then
Oh man,
they're going to
it's so
drive
good.
to the Grand Canyon after this. Is that right?
Yeah, but that's after he robs the robs the cash register, and they go see the Grand Canyon. And
Oh, right, in that like Western village.
loves that sequence too because hey, Yellow Belly.
That is really good. And then after he shoots him, he's just like, "Can I have a drink over here?"
And there's so many great. They really. Ramis just, I mean, I guess he learned to work a lot with Chevy's timing in Caddyshack, but like just most of the lines I love from this are just Chevy throwaways. Like after that gun goes off and he shoots Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo's like, Clark, Audrey's deaf. And Chevy's just like, what's the difference? It was fun anyway.
Anything for fun. That's the Clark Griswold character.
Great. Oh,
Family
great.
fun. It's all he cares about. What? So, when did the? Sorry, I'm writing. I wrote these notes about things that made me laugh really hard, and I can't remember when they happened in the movie.
Doesn't matter.
When do the glasses fall apart on Chevy's face?
I don't remember when they fall apart, but that's the Anthony Michael Hall scene when they're having a beer because he
Right.
starts, he's monologuing, and they fall off perfectly. I don't know how he gets them to. It's amazing.
It is. I mean, they're definitely like breakaway glasses or whatever that they built for him. But the way he performs this, the fact that he is always so able to seem unfazed by everything that's happening to him while simultaneously reacting to everything that's happening to him, I don't know how he does that. Really.
I don't either. It's why he's one of my heroes. His comic acting is unbelievable. I agree. He makes it look so easy, but that's got to be hard.
His physical comedy is something approaching genius.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I remember in Fletch, you pointed out one of the things that made you laugh the hardest was something I always just took as a throwaway laugh, but was when he stood up and got his head caught in the lamp.
Yeah, and in Fletch Lives, which we mainly hated, there was that moment where he like tries to drink something on the porch with that family. It was another physical comedy, but it was the funniest thing in the entire movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you're right. This scene, he's delivering this long father-son talk whilst drinking a little beer, and his glasses are falling off, and then he hands it. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, so he goes off and tries to find help and ends up wandering through the desert, which is pretty great. So the family gets split up. Beverly D'Angelo has, to me, her funniest line in the movie here when she's trying to describe Chevy to somebody. And she goes, "He was a genius with food additives." I love that would help somebody track somebody down. All right, so then they drop off Edna's corpse and drive the rest of the way to Wally World. And when they get there, first, how do you feel about all the matte paintings in the scene?
In Wally World?
Did you notice this?
Yeah, I did, but I mean, I wasn't sure if at some points in the movie that was matte paintings anyway. Like, I'm pretty sure it was kind of a thing throughout it. Dan's got a lot of sunlight hitting him right now.
It's driving me crazy.
You don't have lines in there yet? You got to get some drapes.
I got some drapes. They're too thin.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. You just got there.
They use matte paintings in Wally World when they're far away. They look a little weird to me.
It's
fine. I'll let it go. Then there's a Chariots of Fire parody, which is a little too of the time, but still made me laugh.
Me too.
And then they get to Wally World. They find out it's closed, and John Candy is there. And Chevy Chase pulls a gun on John Candy, and they get into Wally World for free.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the movie. And you can say that it doesn't have an ending or whatever, and they just get to Wally World and ride the rides. But There is very little to me in movies more gleeful than this family with John Candy riding these rides. And you could
It's
tell
great.
they're really riding rides. They went to like
Yes.
Six Flags or something.
Yeah.
And it was like they're really showing their reactions, but they're still staying in character. And
Yes.
it's really kind of a fun tightrope to watch. And I
Yeah.
think Chevy and Anthony Michael Hall are both really impressive in this. What happened to Anthony Michael Hall? Anthony Michael Hall was a really good actor.
I know. I agree. Very good. I mean, I don't know. He kind of just fell off the map, right? And then just kept doing TV or whatever. I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
You gotta-
I still see him pop up and stuff.
Yeah,
And he's so indistinguishable. Like, he's just
Yeah.
like a guy.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He had a weird path. I don't know.
Just be that he got built.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. He's a great comedic actor. I wanted to say something too. Is that the Wally World sequence could have had fallen into a real bad danger of becoming like the last half of Stripes, where it just goes off the rails and it ceases to be funny and it's tedious. But it isn't. I mean, I think part of that is John Candy. Part of that is that Clark. And I actually did not remember when Clark punches the moose in that awesome blow up and drives away and says he'll be back. I didn't remember for some reason what he was going to do. I could not remember that he was going to a sporting goods store to buy a BB gun. I totally didn't remember that entire thing. And that was really, really funny too.
It's just, it's really smart. How are you going to end this movie? Either they're going to get there, it's going to be closed, and it's going to be a downer ending, or they're going to get there and it's going to be open, and we're going to like see them at Wally World, and there's no real drama in that. That's just like a happy ending for the movie. So turn it on its head. Bust out a gun. Like, throw John Candy in the mix. It's just like one more fucking funny, sweet thing to end this movie.
I agree, and let's not forget the hysterical blow up that also comes. It fails miserably in European Vacation, but I know in Christmas Vacation it's a highlight of the movie. His blow up at the family in the car when they just want to quit, and he just busts out the F word out of nowhere.
Yeah, I like when Chevy gets aggravated.
It's fucking great.
It's really enjoyable.
It's so funny, and I never remember that either. And when he does it in the car, it's fucking great. Yeah.
Henry,
love it.
By the way, I still have Beverly D'Angelo's filmography up, and I just noticed she plays Patsy Cline in Coal Miner's Daughter. She's super fucking good in that movie.
I haven't seen that movie in fucking forever, so I don't even remember. But yeah, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah, she's all right.
All right. What do you give Vacation? You're going to give it a 5. I already know.
Fuck yes. It's one of my favorite comedies ever made. So it's I love it. I mean, the St. Louis stuff is horrendous. And I wish it could be excised from the movie. You could literally just take that whole portion out and you would still have a perfectly flowing movie.
Yeah, I'm of course anti taking anything out of movies that exist already. Like, you fuck up once, like that's your movie for eternity. I really believe that. But it does stain the movie, and it makes me certainly less likely to like recommend it to people.
I wouldn't not recommend it. I would just say, look, I would put the caveat on there, though.
I do think you need that. Whatever streaming service this is on should probably have like a racism warning.
Yeah, they don't. Did they do that?
They absolutely do that. HBO Max has it on like Gone with the Wind now and shit.
Oh, good. I haven't seen that. I've seen a lot of other fucking funny, weird.
Well, they mostly do it in old ass movies, you know.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah. 5 for me. I'm assuming you're going 4.
Correct. Yeah, this is a solid fucking 4. And if you gave this under a 4, you're wrong. I really genuinely believe you were just in the wrong on this one.
Yeah, I don't.
And this isn't just nostalgia either. You know, I don't give a shit about nostalgia.
No, you don't do that. I'm prone to that. But this is a funny fucking movie.
No, I just watched
this
this a couple days ago as a fucking adult, and I evaluated this naturally. And this is a 4. This is a great comedy.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. My MVP is Chevy Chase. He really has to be.
It can only be really. I mean, yeah, I can go with like a minor person that I liked. Like I could say Anthony Michael Hall, or I can say even Krakowski, who I loved, like or
Yeah.
Randy Quaid. But
And he
like
Quaid's great too. Even when he asks him for money, that's fucking funny too. We didn't even mention that.
we
His
also didn't
score.
talk about the scene where he goes swimming with Christy Brinkley, which is so
Yeah. Oh,
good.
Jesus. Right. That's all
Oh
done.
my god! And the scene where he's trying to be sexy with that sandwich.
Fucking genius. Fucking genius. Always love it. And I love the end of the Christy Brinkley scene. They actually make her like a human.
Yes, yeah,
And
because they
like,
reveal that she knew like he was full of shit all along, and he was just like she was just fucking like they were just having fun in a motel.
Yep. And she totally gets it, and she's like, "You better go now. You better go to your wife." And like, it's very.
And the fact that Chevy explains himself to his wife after what's the wife's name?
Ellen.
He calls him Sparky. Oh yeah, Ellen. Good call. When he explains himself to Ellen, it's not like this big insurmountable obstacle. Like they're a married couple. They've been together forever. It seems like they're a little freaky. And like they fucking like she forgives him. Like she gets it.
Yeah. I couldn't like a girl like her, honey. She's ugly.
Yeah. Real ugly, Christy Brinkley.
I had a lot of trouble with LVP. I'm up for debate here. I don't know.
You're up for debate on LVP, are you?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any options you want to bring up?
I don't know. I mean, like, as a character, I guess I could pick Imogene Coca, but she's does what she's supposed to do.
Okay,
so,
but
I mean,
is she the least valuable player, Henry? I think she may be.
She may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, she may be, even though she's pivotal to some of the funniest moments in the movie, but they're not really her moments. So I guess we'll go with her.
I also didn't appreciate that Brian Doyle Murray showed up and he was not yet doing his Brian Doyle Murray voice.
But he's fucking great.
I need to hear that voice. No, you're right. He is funny, though. There's a lot of, like, really quick cameos that are good. Brian Doyle Murray is one of them.
He's eating a watermelon, and it's just his facial expressions on where to sign. And why do you need our address? We like to send out a mailer.
I also like Eddie Bracken showing up at the end of this movie as, like, a fake Roy Disney. That was great.
That was very funny. Yeah,
All right, so what a good movie. Really enjoyed it. Let's talk about European Vacation.
So hold on. Your MVP, Chevy, your LVP is the same as mine?
Yeah, I'm just going to stick with you for this one.
All right, we're the same. All right.
All right, so European Vacation comes out 2 years later. They really rushed it, all right? If they waited, I feel like they might have been able to get John Hughes back to write it, which would have been a boon.
That's the issue. There's the rub.
I do think that's a problem because I don't think it's the directing. We have a new director, Amy Heckerling. She gets a little broad at times here, but I think that might be studio mandate.
Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah. Her direction does contribute sometimes to some problems, but overall, it is the writing. Absolutely the writing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about her directing career. It's been a weird one for her. She starts with Fast Times at Ridgemont High, a stone-cold 5-star classic if you've never seen it.
Yep.
She follows that up with Johnny Dangerously with Michael Keaton. I've never seen that.
I saw that a million years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so she sort of fell into this hole for a while where she just became like a go-to mainstream comedy director, and her films sort of lacked any personality, and I don't think she really gets back to her own movies until Clueless. Because after Johnny Dangerously, she does European Vacation, which is clearly a for-hire gig. She does Look Who's Talking and Look Who's Talking 2.
Yeah,
she probably made so much money from those movies.
Oh yeah.
And then she does Clueless, which is a stone-cold 5-star masterpiece. Then does the Clueless TV series, Henry, which I watched every episode of.
I'm sure you did.
Then does Loser with Jason Biggs, Mina Suvari, and Greg Kinnear. And listen, I'm gonna go ahead right here and say I kind of love that movie.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, all right. All right.
It's like kind
Oh,
of.
no, wait. I know this because I was harassed during the American Pie episodes by a couple of, or one, I don't remember who it was, told me I have to see that movie.
Bro, you gotta see yourself some Loser,
And I'm
bro.
not.
Listen.
By the way, I only gave Fast Times on Letterboxd a 3.
That's stupid. It's a 5. Listen,
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time.
you should see it. I have to say about Loser, Henry, that let me see if this has any interest to you.
All right.
Picture Jason Biggs
No.
getting stood up by Mina Suvari at an Everclear concert. Oh, yeah, motherfucker. I'm loving every second.
That is so much more for you than it is for me.
It is exactly for me.
Yeah. If you knock that back like 10 years and you have Ali Sheedy standing up Emilio Estevez at an Aerosmith concert, then I'm like, oh, all right, I get that.
Ali Sheedy?
Sure, I'm pushing our decade back for our
Ali
our
Sheedy,
ages.
right. I'm sorry, I was
ages.
in the 2000s. I was thinking of Ali Larder. And her whipped cream bikini in Varsity Blues.
Oh, yes, Ali Larder.
All right, so after Loser, she directs this movie, I Could Never Be Your Woman, with Paul Rudd and Michelle Pfeiffer, and the studio leaves it on the shelf for like 2 years, never releases it in the theaters, and puts it out straight to video, and it's a totally fine movie. I don't understand why that happened. Since then, she's done a lot of TV, bro. She made one movie called Vamps, which came and went and was supposed to be a piece of shit, and then just a lot of TV, some Gossip Girl, some Carrie Diaries. You know I'm watching it all.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a weird career. It's
She
almost
also
like
directed. Is it weird that both directors of the first 2 vacation movies have directed episodes of The American Office?
not really.
Sort
I guess
of random.
It's random, but not
She
really.
directed the
They
one
got
with
everybody for that.
Amy Adams in the first season.
Oh, that's a fucking classic episode. Oh, you're like Pam 2.0.
Great stuff. All right. European Vacation. Let's talk about the new writer, Robert Klein. Are you familiar with this young man?
No, but-
very old man.
Now, John Hughes, what? He's not. You don't think he had anything to do with this? He's credited. I mean, I don't know.
I always thought he is credited as a co-writer, and I always thought that was accurate, but I did some research, Henry. Turns out that is an unearned credit. They had to give it to him because the original film was based on like his own family and shit.
Yeah, but wouldn't they just say story? Wouldn't it just say based on characters created by?
You'd think.
Boy, that's wow.
I guess
Okay.
maybe they wanted Hughes to have a credit, man, because he's John Hughes at this point. It's 1985.
Sure. Yeah, that's the whole problem with this movie. Yep.
Well, they get Robert Klein. It's not a bad idea on the surface, considering he has written probably 4 or 5 masterpieces.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Shoot.
His first credited screenplay based on his own novel is the very insane Carl Reiner film Where's Papa with George Siegel and Ron Liebman. And
Oh, yeah, heard of it, never saw it.
It's insane.
Yeah.
There is a gang rape scene that is played for laughs, and that's the ghost blowjob of that film.
Okay.
All right, so then he writes for MASH for the first 3 seasons, gets some notoriety there, all right? He writes the film Unfaithfully Yours, never seen it. Dudley Moore.
Yeah,
Right?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
He writes The Man with One Red Shoe.
That is bad.
That is not bad.
Wait, that's the Tom Hanks movie.
Yes.
That's fucking terrible.
Not bad.
Ugh. It's your girl, Rita Wilson, though. She's beautiful in that.
Ugh, it's also got Jim Belushi, which sucks. Yeah. No, who's the girl I like in that movie? Laurie Singer. Laurie Singer. And it's got a good Carrie Fisher comedy performance. Good movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right, but what he should really be known for, Henry, is writing a stone cold 5-star classic that we covered on the franchise. That's right. I can only be talking about Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh God!
He wrote
No wonder
Weekend
this
at
movie
Bernie's
sucks.
and Weekend at Bernie's 2 incredible films.
POS is both POS, unwatchable.
One of the best episodes we've ever recorded.
I mean, it was a fun episode to record. We had Aaron on.
Yeah.
It was awful to watch.
Great movies. All right.
Awful.
This movie, hey, they were actually paying attention to release dates. They released it on the same weekend 2 years later, July 26, 1985, on a budget slightly higher of $17 million. Box office slightly lower, $49.3 million. Pretty good, though. Came in at number 14 at the box office, made a little bit less than... It's actually between two movies we've covered on the show. It made a little bit less than James Bond in A View to a Kill. And
Okay.
a little bit more. Actually, number 14 at the box office was European Vacation. Number 15 was Fletch.
Oh, wow.
What a year for Chip.
Wow. Boy, he's raking in the money. All right.
All right, so we start with Pig in a Poke. The family, the Griswolds, spelled wrong, by the way, throughout this movie. Did you notice that?
Oh, yes, I did.
What the fuck was happening in the 80s? You can't keep track of something as simple. You know what it is? I think the internet changed this. Because now movie studios know that like the people watching movies, they're nerdy and they're obsessing over weird shit.
Right, they
So
check
like
shit.
I feel like in the 80s they'll be like, what is the spelling of the name? Well, no one notices. It's fine.
Yeah, what? Winston Zedmore had 2 D's in it? Whatever, it won't this time.
This was pre-IMDb. This was pre the goofs and gaffs sections and shit.
Yep. Yeah, they didn't care.
No.
Yeah.
All right. So they're on this game show, Pig in a Poke. I like the idea of this on a surface. I was hoping it would turn into like a Double Dare kind of a situation, but it's just like a Q&A show with them dressed as pigs.
We get the Riddler as the host, of course.
John Astin, who is really legitimately funny in this scene, I thought. Yeah.
Except for his kissing Audrey.
No. That was the funniest part.
Weird. You know why it's fucking weird? Because of what you mentioned earlier and you were going to talk about. The girl has that illness that makes her look 9. And it's so fucking bizarre. And then I looked her up, and she's like 20 in this movie. Yeah. But it's so weird. I don't know.
I always have been amused by game show hosts, and I am a huge Family Feud guy, Henry. And Richard Dawson kissing all the women on Family Feud on the lips has always been a source of fascination for me.
I didn't know he did that.
He does that consistently. Every single woman from every family, he kisses on the lips.
Boy, am I in the dark on that. I mean, I've seen Family Feud since its inception. I just never... Richard Dawson's the... Am I thinking of the right... Oh, yes. All right, I have him in my head now.
Richard Dawson from The Running Man.
I always think of John Davidson, because he did Family Feud for a while, and he did Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, and then he killed himself.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay. He kissed all the women on the lips.
That was the whole thing. He would do that. And it was like a casual thing. And all the women were like psyched to do it. And nobody ever talked about it.
Oh, my God. So that's where this is getting that from?
This is a clear reference to Richard Dawson.
Got it. That makes it a little different. A lot different.
Yeah, it's a funny bit.
Okay. Yeah. John Astin, very funny.
So funny. Yeah. The original Gomez Addams.
And the second-tier Riddler.
You don't think he's top-tier Riddler? I would take him over fucking Jim Carrey.
Oh, no, I meant in proportion to Frank Gorshin.
Oh, you're right. Gorshin's better. In proportion to Frank Gorshin.
Yeah. No, because
that could be your new podcast. You could cover the works of Frank Gorshin.
He was one of those Cesar Romero types, Astin. He wouldn't shave his stash for the fucking Riddler bits.
That's like me now.
Yeah.
I'm not shaving this for my Riddler bits.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So let's talk about... I got distracted for a second. Hey,
I know.
Listen, European Vacation, we get out of there. They win a trip to Europe
Yeah.
And this is a real problem for me. Here's I think the biggest issue with this movie. And
Okay.
like aside from just it not being as funny as the first one,
Yeah.
I do think that the first movie benefits a lot from having a very specific destination to the vacation. Like
yes.
they're stopping at places on the way to Wally World. The
Right.
intention is to get to Wally World.
Just like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles has a destination.
Absolutely.
It's not aimless wandering. Yeah.
No, they're trying to get back to, who is it?
Chicago.
Rita Wilson?
Chicago.
Yeah, but who's the woman?
Not Rita Wilson. It's the woman from fucking Rob Zombie's, from Devil's Rejects, Priscilla Barnes.
It wasn't Sherry Moon Zombie? I would love... Can we do a Rob Zombie Planes, Trains remake with Sherry Moon in that role?
Oh, man, I'm quitting if that happens.
Who do you think? Who would play the John Candy and Steve Martin roles? You get Bill Moseley to play the Steve Martin role.
Yeah.
Is there a fat guy who could do John Candy?
Sure, Josh Gad.
I don't think he's working with fucking Zombie, bro.
Great.
Josh Gad is so inescapable, man. I was watching like an old episode of New Girl the other day, and like Josh Gad's ass showed up.
I told you I didn't watch a movie I really wanted to watch because he is the second guy in it. It was like, what was it, Thurgood? The Thurgood Marshall movie?
Yeah, he's in that. And there's...
I'm not going to watch it now.
He also... There was recently a reunion of the cast of a TV show I really like, and Josh Gad moderated the panel, and so I didn't watch it.
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
Get him out of my life.
I didn't even care about him before, but since this show has sort of made me more aware of him, I just can't fucking take it.
He's inescapable. Yeah. All right, so in this movie, there's no destination. They're just going to Europe.
Yeah. And this movie suffers immediately from Ghostbusters 2 syndrome, which is that, these characters, we like their characters, we know the gags, we're going to do those gags again, but they're not as funny, they're not as original, and the camera lingers far too long. I do think Amy Heckerling is a little bit to blame because she just doesn't handle the timing and the gags that well, but they're not funny to begin with. So
there's certain moments where I see Amy Heckerling's comedy timing as a director shine through and enhance bad bits. One of those is when they first get to Europe and Chevy doesn't know how to drive the car.
Yeah.
I think that is such a hacky bit. Like, they're in Europe, so the wheel's on the wrong side, and so he can't figure it out. Like, that is incredibly hacky. But to, like, have him, like, drive over those three people in a row and them all be kind to him, I like the way Heckerling paces that. It's like a bit that doesn't work, but I think that Amy Heckerling, through sheer force of intuition and directing talent, gives it a chance to work.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there. But it was a confusing thing to me too, because it's also like it's 1985, so like I was trying to think about how Americans viewed Europeans, and it's just fascinating. Like the French thing, I knew that was going to happen. That's easy to know. The French are going to be dicks,
snobby.
But the English thing was weird to me. Like, when was that a thing where we always thought that all Brits were really, really friendly and happy people?
I think there was like a thing. I do think there was a thing before, like, Americans cottoned on to the idea of like soccer hooligans or like the lower class, like the Northerners in England.
That
like,
they were all aristocratic.
I do think that they were all like posh, like this kind of British person. This is who pops up on a show in America, right. And I'm usually the butler of a rich family.
Yeah, they're all upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah.
And then we get Eric Idle, who I generally find pretty funny, and he's fine in this,
he's
but
not,
it's just
bad. Listen, but I was excited that we got both Nuns on the Run in this film.
Yes, we did. We certainly did. And he doesn't speak, which is fine with me.
Robbie Coltrane?
I don't have a problem with Robbie Coltrane, but at that point I was so checked out with this film. I mean, I don't know. It just has this overall feeling. Whoa, what's going on over there?
Wow, what's happening?
I just heard a lot of kerfuffle noise again. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to
and
scratch my leg,
yeah,
and so I
yeah,
had to move a little bit.
no moving.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like everyone's still giving it their all. Everybody's trying. It does feel that way. It doesn't feel like a throwaway. Like it's just, and it is. There are some things that work, but they also make Clark. They do something to his character that I don't think works.
I know. Go ahead.
Make him dumber,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not like he's supposed to be just kind of a lovable fool, but he's not dumb.
That's
like he is kind of smart, and in Christmas Vacation that thankfully isn't the case. It comes back, but in this movie he's just really dumb, and like even when the waitress in the plane, like when she says, "Would you like that in a can?" and he's in the can, and he's like, "No, I'll have it here," and it's like that's not a.
No, I'm so sorry. That's an airplane joke you wrote.
I'm just gonna say that. Mm-hmm. That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, and it's like, what movie am I in? Like I don't.
It doesn't really get the tone quite right. It's a little wrong. It's a little aimless. I mean, to talk about that airplane sequence, I think those fantasy sequences are totally out of place. I loved them as a kid, and I was not amused today.
Yeah, they amuse as a child, but they're not funny. They're terrible. And poor Dana.
Oh my God!
Both actresses are named Dana, so I don't know. One's Dana Hall, one's Dana Barron. I think this is Dana Hall.
It is,
I think.
Yeah, and I mean Dana Hill. It is. She is an actress who is like actually not allowed to stuff her face because she has type 1 diabetes, which stunted her growth, and because she's a little chubby in this movie, they make this character obsessed with food to the point where she's stuffing her face. And in her dream sequence, all she's doing is eating.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucking disgusting. And I mean, it's even worse in hindsight, learning that 11 years after this movie was made, she died at the age of 32 from a stroke after complications from diabetes.
Yeah, I know. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. And yeah, none of their dreams are funny. Like,
I kind of do like Clark's.
I don't even understand. Like, you watched it with subtitles, I assume, right?
Yeah.
What is with the line he says where this shit's old? Did you catch that?
I don't remember that.
He's singing the song, The Sound of Music, and it says like, "But this shit is old," and I'm like, they didn't get that line right. What?
But
yeah, it was
the line, the centerpiece of that scene, "The hills are alive with the sound of Griswolds," is pretty funny.
I don't know.
All right, so whatever. They get to Europe. They immediately they can't find their room. It is. They made them dumb, and it's because it's easier to write comedy for dumb characters.
Yeah.
And it's why when you watch long-running sitcoms that go on for like 8-9 years, the characters get dumber as the show goes on, and because like they can't really keep up the momentum otherwise.
Yeah.
You go watch like Friends, like Joey from like season 1, he's like a lovable loser. In season 10, he's brain dead.
Yeah. Well, I never thought of that. I mean, I don't watch that show, but I never thought of that concept. Yeah, it is easier to just write it because you don't have to think.
What's a long-running sitcom that you've watched a lot?
Oh, well, I mean Seinfeld.
Cheers.
Curb.
Did you watch Cheers?
Yeah, not religiously, but I watch it. Ted
Danson gets dumber throughout that show.
Does he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You go back and watch the first season, and he's like dumb compared to Shelley Long, who is like kind of a genius.
Right.
Then, like a few seasons later, like he's brain dead.
Yeah, and I guess because it's easier to write things happening to people than to have them think of clever things to say. And
well, it's easier to write from that place than to actually write from like situations being funny or emotions being funny.
I mean, within the same movie here, they do the same gags. I mean, I couldn't even believe it when they redid the bed gag. Like, they first get to London and the room sucks, right? And then they jump in the bed and he sinks in it, and then they go to, I guess it's France, and he jumps in the bed and he bounces out of it. I mean, it's just like,
I did like the bounce. That was good Chevy Chase physical comedy.
He's allowed to do that.
He bounces off the bed, and then they walk in behind him, and they don't see him immediately at first because he has fallen off the bed, and he says, "Oh, I'm here."
Just, you say, I'm looking for the Bible.
Oh, that's right. I'm looking for the Bible. That's funny. All right.
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
I did not like when they first get to that hotel, though, and like they do a creepy thing where Beverly D'Angela's in a communal bathroom with like a blindfold over her head. Like she's got a towel on her face. And Robbie Coltrane comes in. It's a little creepy. And then Chevy Chase crawls into some woman's bed, and of course she's like down to fuck immediately.
Right.
The 80s movies led me to believe that if you accidentally ended up in somebody's bed, you were probably going to fuck them before you left.
Yeah. And that's a weird scene too, because I don't even know what vibe they're going for, because Chevy gets in the bed and then he says, and you kind of think for a second it's a man, like it's a transvestite, because he says,
"Why that way?"
Well, he says your legs are hairy.
Oh, and then he says, like I thought you had shaved your legs.
Yeah, and the woman in one angle, in the first angle, kind of looks like a man.
I didn't notice that, and I don't know if it was intentional.
Well, I don't know, but then she doesn't. But like, I was like, what are we doing? Are we making fun of cross-dressing people now? Like, it was very odd, but then it's not, and then it's just this horny woman. But it's just a bizarre sequence. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of the gags just fall flat. There was very few things that made me.
How'd you feel about them knocking down Stonehenge?
Awful.
Yeah, it's bad, right? That's another bit I thought was funny as a kid.
Sure.
I probably learned about Stonehenge from this movie.
Yeah, right. I was prepared to laugh when I knew that the dog was going to jump off the Eiffel Tower. And that isn't funny either. You know, the kid Rusty is actually okay. Like
I was surprised. I do think they did themselves a disservice casting someone who's just going to do an Anthony Michael Hall impersonation, but he does do a pretty decent Anthony Michael Hall impersonation.
Yeah, I was worried too, but he's okay.
Jason Lively, you familiar with this guy?
Not really.
You know, I looked him up because I was like, I bet this is Blake Lively's dad.
And?
It turns out I was half right. It's one of those situations where he's like a much, much older brother.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so Rusty in European Vacation is Blake Lively's brother.
God, is that bizarre?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. It's a deep cut. All right. Yeah. Yeah, then they go to Germany. You know, the thing in Germany, I think, is the thing that had the most potential for a classic vacation scene and still just didn't work. When they arrive at the wrong house, right? Bill, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, like, they arrive at the wrong house to, like, meet Clark's distant relatives, right? His homeland is Germanic Griswold family. And they don't speak English, so there's a barrier. They went to the wrong house. And I feel like there could have been that could have worked if it was orchestrated a bit differently, maybe even a little less rushed, and maybe it would have even been funnier if they were in the right house and they met a family that was like, or it could have been disastrous, I guess, if they would have met a family that was like a German version of them. I don't know,
well,
but
that's the thing. I was worried about that. Like, I didn't remember the German thing, and it's set up really early in the movie that Clark has family in Germany that they're going to stop over at when they are in Germany. And when so I was sort of dreading it because we were getting like shittier versions of gags from the first movie, and I didn't want there to be like a shitty Uncle Ed. Like, I thought maybe it would be like Randy Quaid doing a German accent or something.
Oh, boy. Yeah. There was potential for that, for sure.
Yeah, and so it didn't get that bad, but also it wasn't really a bit that went anywhere. So it was like kind of just like, there's so much just wasted time in this movie.
I agree. It was very tedious.
And I guess the first one could have been too, if like the bits weren't funny.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with this movie. There's no destination.
No.
Like, so the movie feels somewhat aimless.
Yep.
And the bits aren't consistent enough, so the movie's just not that funny.
And when he like dances on the stage with the German, and then that goes on forever, and then it turns into a car chase.
Although, while that was going on, Rusty is off making out with this German girl named Claudia, and this movie, I think I've only seen the edited version.
Oh, I knew we were gonna get breasts. Yeah.
I gotta say, Claudia, German Claudia, the second I saw her, I was like, oh yeah, she was formative for me. I remember watching this scene at like 7 years old.
That's
and
funny.
Thinking like, oh my God, who's this?
That's funny.
And then when she fucking popped her, and because like as a kid, I just remember watching Rusty and Claudia make out was like the hottest fucking thing ever. And like Rusty has his hand on her leg, and I was like, holy fuck. But yeah, watching it this time, she opens up her shirt and pops her boobs out, and I was like little 7-year-old me had his mind totally blown.
Yeah, right. No, it's crazy. And again, it's another 80s thing. That's so funny. I must have been like, I was always, for me, the breast moment in the first two vacation movies will always be the Beverly D'Angelo, because that for me was the one that blew my mind. And still does.
No, I understand. And that's obviously like it's Beverly D'Angelo, so it's more interesting. This is just like some random actress from the 80s who probably had a bad casting couch situation.
But I get it. Definitely bad casting couch.
But yeah, just from the age I saw it, it was like...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Jesus.
It's insane.
Beverly D'Angelo was like a mom. I don't think the first time I saw this movie, I found her attractive. Like, she was a mom.
I did. I didn't care.
I was a little boy.
I didn't care. She's always been very sexy to me.
I understand. I enjoyed the... can we go back to Paris for a second? Because I really did enjoy the nude aerobics show that they go to see at at sort of a vaudeville show.
Yeah.
And Rusty is there as well. They find him there. Yeah. And that's kind of funny.
That was kind of funny.
And then I do think, here's my favorite Chevy Chase line reading of the entire movie.
Okay.
Is the next morning after that. There's this like sort of honeymooning couple they keep seeing everywhere, and they're just like all over each other.
Yeah.
And they see them at breakfast. Yes. And they start making out at the table. And Rusty, just being an idiot, goes like, I think he's going to pork her, Dad. and Chevy Chase says like, he's not going to pork her. And then he looks back at them for a second, and he goes, he may pork her, Russ. Eat.
That was very funny. Yeah. Because I still like the dynamic between Chevy and Rusty.
Yeah, they kind of still have good chemistry, even though it's a different actor.
They do, and it's still funny, and that scene does work, and I like the line that they tread between Chevy being like a totally good dad, good father, and being completely inappropriate and ridiculous as a father, and it works. It works, and I also think it's funny. I mean, I think it's played too much, and I didn't remember it being played this much. That's the problem. I remembered it differently. Was that Audrey constantly missing her boyfriend in concept is very funny. Like, that's a concept that's very real, very teenagey, but they do it. It's like every other line of hers. That's like all this girl gets to say.
Yeah. Can I say something that might be a little controversial?
What's that?
Dana Hill is my LVP of this film. All right? I really don't like her. I don't think it's necessarily her fault. It's a bad version of this character.
Yes. Yeah.
I do think they should have just gotten Dana Barron and had her be with fake Anthony Michael Hall.
Would have been better.
Yeah. So she's my LVP, but what I'm going to tell you right now is that my MVP is Mr. William Zabka, the man who played her boyfriend.
Fucking Cobra Kai.
This man, yeah, he was at the height of being an asshole at this point. He was being a bully in every movie. Karate Kid launched his career. I think he was also in like Back to School around now. Like he's in. Does he show up in Teen Wolf? He's like in every movie playing.
He's all the time. Yeah.
And I've always found him to be a great bully. I love William Zabka. And I love how sort of self-aware he's become late in life. He spoofed himself on How I Met Your Mother and then came back for Cobra Kai. And I think he's really fucking funny in this movie. In the scene,
but he is funny.
He's not, but it's for like a mostly pretty weak movie and having already given out an MVP to Chevy. I wanna tell you that William Zabka is really funny. The scene where they decide the family's going to be a democracy and they vote, and he's just being a shit to Dana Hill at the table, and imposing himself on this family, and then the phone conversation later on where he says that he wants to date. He thinks their relationship is strong enough to stand them dating other people.
Yeah.
And even the fact that when they were in the first hotel room in England, it was entirely like the second they got there, it was already fully decorated with just like glamour shots of William Zabka all around the room. I gotta say, I think I got the most LOLs in this movie from William Zabka, whether it was his face or a line delivery or just him being in the movie.
That's very funny. I like that. That's good. That's good. I almost want to steal that, but I won't. I
actually don't even want to get into the third act that much because it involves guns and it involves the mob and organized crime and Beverly D'Angelo gets kidnapped and I just want to end it.
So bad.
Fuck this.
So bad. I know. I didn't remember any of that, and it goes on forever.
It might be the nadir of the whole franchise, the third act of this movie.
Yeah, it is really bad. Well, we haven't gotten to Vegas and Cousin Eddie's Christmas yet, but
I remember liking Vegas, but
I never saw it.
Oh, okay. So, I'm okay with Vegas.
Past Christmas, anything. So.
Oh, this is exciting. Well, I haven't seen anything past Vegas. I haven't seen that Eddie one or the remake. Or the reboot or whatever the fuck it is.
Right. Yeah, no, that last act is just awful. Yeah. Just awful.
And then they 9/11 the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, my God.
What is up with that? That's a funny bit at the end. Their airplane runs into the Statue of Liberty?
Airplane again. It's fucking
It is. It's not even Airplane. It's fucking Airplane 2.
Yeah, right. It's the not as funny Airplane. Oh, Lord. It's... I just think that this writer and Amy Heckerling thought they were really just going to make a different type movie and a gag-filled movie with less of understanding of the characters.
I just think that the remit was to make a sequel to Vacation in 2 years, and they rushed it and they put out a bad movie.
Yeah, well, that's a simpler way of putting it. Yeah. I'm gonna give my MVP. I think it was real hard. I don't know what to say. I guess
you give this movie. Sorry,
I'm giving it 2.
I am too, and I was fully expecting to give it a 3 going into it.
Yeah, I was too. I was hoping to give it a 3. I really was.
Yeah.
But, I can't give it a 1 because
no, it's not bad. And you know what? Like someday I'll rewatch the Vacation movies, and I won't skip this one.
I think I will.
Okay.
Think I will. And I think there's a reason why I'm so familiar with the original and Christmas. I think that this movie just never made an impression on me, and I guess I was right.
It was just on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Like as a kid in the summers, like I didn't want to go outside. I don't like it out there.
Right.
So I watched movies all day.
Yeah.
And I feel like this, and there were like certain 80s comedies that were just on all that. Like I watched this and Back to School and Teen Wolf, and Just One of the Guys, and like they were just on all the time.
See, Vacation was another one. I think I mentioned Encore recently, but this was another Encore one. This was on all the time on Encore in the 90s, and I watched the original Vacation a million times that way. So European just eluded me.
I wasn't a purist. I would just put it on,
Yeah,
Chevy Chase in a pig costume, that'll make me
sure.
laugh at
yeah. Yeah. But it's a 2. I mean, Chevy's got a couple of good lines. he's still funny. I mean, I won't give him the MVP again. I mean, I guess I almost just want to give it to like Beverly D'Angelo just for like sticking it through.
Listen, Beverly D'Angelo is consistently good in both of these movies. She
Yeah.
does the job. She has good chemistry with Chevy. I like the way she calls him Sparky. She pops
Yep.
her top off. You got to give her credit for that. And
He's my-
although I will say the sequence in this movie, which I did remember finding sexy as a kid, and do not today, is her whole like va 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 voom. Like, what was that? The fact that there's a sex tape and they get their camera stolen and the sex tape gets released widely so that people actually recognize her on the street from it.
And then they don't do anything with it anyway.
I know.
She sees her face on the poster, and that's the end of it.
It's trash. Well, someone recognizes her from it, right?
Do they?
One of the bad guys, I think.
I don't even remember.
The bad guys. Why do there need to be bad guys in
Right.
a movie?
It's fucking awful. There's so many tropes that are just tossed in there like a
The
fucking.
Griswolds should be the bad guys. That's the problem.
Right. Yeah. They're their own worst enemy. That's the point. They don't need.
We sympathize with them a little too much in this movie for what fucking ugly Americans they are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. Yeah.
Who's your LVP?
I hated so many things in this movie. I didn't know what to do, so I'm gonna go with yours because the loss of Audrey would have helped. So I'll just go with her. Not her fault, but she doesn't help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dana.
All right. So that's the episode. Fun shit, bro. We watched 2 vacation movies. We're going to watch 2 more next week. So stay tuned. Christmas Vacation, directed by Jeremiah Chechik, the guy who made Benny and June. And then fucking Vegas Vacation was directed by Total Nobody.